What's up, my comic comrades? Last year, writer Tom Taylor wrapped up his awesome DCeased miniseries, in which the anti-life equation turned into a techno-virus and then infected almost all the heroes and villains in the DC universe. If you haven't read DCeased, I highly recommend you do. We also covered the entirety of this series with the 2 episodes you'll find right up here and in the description below. With that said, today's episode covers the events in issue 1 of the 3-issue DCeased follow-up title, DCeased Unkillables. So we recommend you at least watch those first to bring yourself up to speed, and then come back to watch this episode. And yes, that obviously means we're about to spoil the crap out of issue 1 of DCeased Unkillables. So that's your very specific warning. Anyway, let's dive in and see what's going on with Red Hood in the DCeased universe. The issue starts off in Kentucky, day 1 of the anti-life virus, and gives Deathstroke's perspective on things. We learn that he was paid $9 million to go there and kill the bastards who set fire to a few churches. So Deathstroke rings the doorbell where these men are hiding, and as he does so, someone jumps out of the 3rd floor window, and when the dude lands, gets back up and starts running on his shattered leg. So Deathstroke put a bullet through his head, while thinking to himself, I haven't seen a lot of people keep trying to run on broken legs. Right after this, the front door slams open, and a bunch of men come running out. So Deathstroke goes inside to see what the heck is going on. And when he does so, he's confronted by a bunch of zombie Nazis. So Deathstroke does what he does best, and that is kill lots of people until his phone rings, and when he grabs it and picks it up, he gets infected with the anti-life techno-virus. As the virus is transferred by looking at any screen linked to the internet, hence techno-virus, or the obvious scratch or bite. So Slade starts clawing his face apart, as that's what the virus makes you do. And then the comic says, and that was the end of his story. At least it should have been. But Slade was different, very different. The comic then jumps to day 2 of the anti-life virus, where we see Slade is now healed. We are then taken to Wayne Manor, still on day 2 of the anti-life virus, where we see Red Hood is walking into the Batcave looking for Bruce and Alfred. So he starts yelling, Bruce, Alfred, it's Jason. Is anyone? As he steps in a puddle of blood, at which point he looks up and says, oh no, as he sees the dead bodies of Bruce, Dick, and Damien. Needless to say, it hits Jason extremely hard, with him saying, I thought you of all people, as he starts crying. He then hears growling, at which point he turns around and points his guns in that direction. But it's just Ace, who is also extremely upset to lose Bruce, Dick, and Damien. So Jason says, don't worry, we're not gonna leave them like this. It's okay. So he goes to get a shovel and wood to dig graves and make tombstones. He then buried his father and brothers because, let's face it, that's what Bruce and his fellow Robins really were. Jason looks at the Batmobile and says, he never did let me drive the car. So he hops in and says, car, show me the locations of all the Bat family in Gotham other than me. The Bat computer then says 8 located in Gotham. Jason then asks, how many with heartbeats? The computer replies, 2, which again is another punch to the gut for Jason. As Jason peels away in the Batmobile with Ace, we get a panel of the tombstone that he made for Batman, which says, Bruce Wayne, father, mentor, bastard, Batman. And I gotta say, that's the most Jason Todd thing ever, and I love it. We are then taken to Rose Wilson, aka Ravenger, aka Deathstroke's daughter, where we see that she's hiding in her apartment building and everyone on the ground floor is infected. She's hiding in her apartment because she's a precog and is having visions of opening the door, at which point a bunch of zombies come in and tear her apart. But her father is talking to her on a walkie saying, take the fire escape to the top floor, get to the roof, bring every weapon you can carry, to which Rose says, but I'll be stuck on the roof. And Slade says, you won't be stuck. Go. So she suits up and goes to the roof and sees a ladder hanging from a helicopter that her dad's flying. But out of nowhere, Man-Bat comes flying through the cockpit windshield, biting Slade in the arm, which causes the helicopter to crash on the roof, all while Rose looks on. And when Slade gets out of the wreckage, Rose says, I'm sorry, Dad, and stabs him through the chest, to which he says, ow. It's here we find out that his healing factor reverses whatever the hell the virus is, which is crazy as this is the 2nd time he's been infected, but his healing factor just keeps reversing it. Moments after this, Mirror Master shows up near some broken glass and is like, don't shoot, it's 7 years bad luck. And frankly, I don't want to see what bad luck looks like on top of an undead apocalypse. He then goes on to say, Vandal Savage sent me to find you with an offer. I could probably extend it to your daughter as well. So of course, they ultimately follow him. Mirror Master then takes them to a secret island off the coast somewhere, where they meet up with Savage, Solomon Grundy, the Creeper, Cheetah, Captain Cold, Lady Shiva, Bane, and Deadshot. Savage then tells Deathstroke everyone here has been selected for a reason. Like Creeper can heal and survive almost anything. I suspect he can purge the virus from his system. The heroes are going to fail. They are not ruthless enough to survive. I am over 50,000 years old. This is not the first extinction event I have faced. We're going to inherit whatever is left on the planet when this is done. Basically, Vandal Savage picked a group of villains to build and rule a new world once the current one has been eradicated. Nothing too evil. We are then taken back to Gotham, where Cassandra Cain Batgirl, James Gordon, and Bullock are holding off a crap ton of the infected. But before they can lock themselves in a cell block, Harvey gets scratched on the face and infected. As he starts to turn, Cassandra Cain breaks his neck, putting him out of his misery. Dude, I'm telling you, this whole DCeased event is crazy. There's so many nutty deaths of characters you would never expect, A-list or not. In any case, at this moment, Jason Todd breaks through the wall with the Batmobile, and Gordon says, "Batman," and Jason says, "No, not Batman. Get in the car." He then tells Gordon and Cassandra that his plan is to get the hell out of Gotham. Gordon's like, "My daughter's out there." Jason says, "No, Jim, I'm sorry, she isn't." And he's like, "What are you talking about?" Jason then says, "Car, show heart monitor for Barbara Gordon." At which point they all just see a flat line on the car's monitor. Gordon's like, "What is this? Why do you have a monitor on my daughter?" Jason then takes off his helmet and Cassandra takes off her cowl and reveal to Gordon who they really are. At which point, Gordon starts putting all the pieces together. Jason then tells Gordon and Cassandra we're the only three left in Gotham. Gordon asks, why am I being monitored? Jason answers saying Batman was terrible at expressing anything with words and had absolutely no consideration for personal boundaries. But he violated your trust and secretly monitored you for a reason. Bruce thought of you as family, Jim. Jim then says, "But the equipment could be wrong. Take me to my daughter's location." So Jason does, and Jim is forced to look at the truth. His daughter is dead. And again, I'm telling you, this book just hits you in all the feels. Also, for those of you who don't know, it was revealed in issue 3 of DCeased that Batgirl and the rest of the birds of prey had been turned, at which point Poison Ivy kills them all. In any case, Jason finds Joker's dead body alongside Batgirl's and the rest of the birds of prey and says, "It should have been me. I should have been the one to kill him." Cassandra then says, "Move, it's not safe." Jason replies, "One thing first." And we see on the next panel that he straps the Joker's corpse to the front of the Batmobile, to which Gordon says, "Seriously, this is really messed up." And Jason says, "It's an apocalypse. Don't judge me." This is the most metal Mad Max thing I've seen in a long while in a comic, and I love it. It just makes all the sense in the world that Jason would do this considering his past with the Joker. Red Hood and the gang then head to Bloodhaven, where we see that everyone is also infected. There, Jason says it's Bloodhaven, so an undead virus is almost an improvement. In any case, they see there's orphans trapped inside of an orphanage. So of course, Jason uses the Batmobile, Joker hood ornament and all, to bust through the horde of the infected and into the orphanage. All three of them get out the car and say, "It's all right, we are the good guys." Gordon then says to Jason, "You want to remove the corpse of the psychotic clown from the hood of the car?" And Jason just replies, "Yeah." After this, Jim introduces himself to the kids saying, "My name is Jim, I'm a policeman. These two are superheroes, Batgirl and Robin." But Jason doesn't take too well to being called Robin. Jason then sees metal bars bent around two door handles holding the horde back from the children and asks who did this. And the little girl says she reinforced it, then she went away and never came back. And another kid says, "Are you gonna go away too?" Jason replies, "We'll get you through this. Orphans have to stick together." And the comic ends. I gotta say, I'm really loving this DCeased universe. The original 6-issue miniseries was great. And if the first issue of DCeased Unkillables is any indication, this 3-issue follow-up series is gonna be great as well. I like that we're getting a glimpse of what's going on with some of the other heroes and villains within this universe. And being the massive Red Hood fan that I am, I'm so stoked that this miniseries is putting him front and center, as it seems like it's gonna be the Red Hood against the zombified DC universe. Although it also seems like both Red Hood and Deathstroke are gonna tag team it by the end of the series and be the ones to save everything. But who knows? And honestly, that's the coolest thing about this series. It's almost impossible to guess what's gonna happen next, as they just kill people off every other page. Anyway, what do you think of this Red Hood-centric DC zombie apocalypse story, or the whole DCeased event in general? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section. First up for the week of the 4th, we have Strange Adventures issue 1. Tom King, the writer who brought us great titles like Mr. Miracle and Vision, seems to be bringing that momentum to Adam Strange. If you've ever wanted to read Adam Strange, there's no better time than now. Here we have The Flash issue 750. This is a giant-sized 72-page book that has Flash stories from writers like Jeff Johns, Brian Buccellato, Francis Manapul, and more. And we also get a story from main Flash writer Josh Williamson that brings the Flash into conflict with Paradox. Now we have Spider-Man Noir issue 1. Spider-Man Noir is easily one of the coolest versions of Spider-Man, so of course every Spider-Man fan should check out his brand new miniseries. Next up is Doctor Doom issue 6. After uncovering a plot against him, Doctor Doom seeks an insurance policy that will ensure his reign over Latveria forever. And finally, we have Batman issue 90. James Tynion's run on Batman has been great thus far, and in this issue, Catwoman reveals a secret she's been keeping from her now fiance, Batman. And that's gonna bring another episode of Variant to a close, but if you like today's episode, be sure to check out this one right here. And if you like all of our content, be sure to subscribe, it helps us out. But I'll see you guys next time when we talk about all things comics.